I eat eggs almost every single day. Two recipes that I have going in my rotation right now are my crispy eggs with kale and a breakfast quesadilla with chorizo, peppers and onions, and a fresh pico. If you want the full ingredient list, check the description box below. But enough talking, let's get cooking.
The first step to getting this crispy egg dish going is trimming up some kale. And we're going to use the kale almost like a steak in eggs because the kale eats very chewily like a steak. So this is a great way to sneak in some vegetables if you're trying to eat a little healthier. The key to getting kale where it's not super chewy is to do this little massage trick. So once we get it off those thick stems, we're just going to crumple it up in between our hands like we're crumpling up paper. And now with this garlic, we're going to go Goodfellas style and try to slice it as thin as possible. So as soon as it hits the pan, we're going to get some good crisping on it. So we're going to heat this saute pan over a medium heat, and we're going to throw some olive oil in there, and then we're going to throw the garlic in there. Once we see that garlic is starting to get some color, we're going to throw the kale right on top of there and try to stop that garlic from burning. So we're going to spread this kale around the pan, make sure it's getting nice contact, and now we're just going to splash in just a little light chicken stock just to put some moisture in the pan so it can start to soften this kale. And now I'm just going to keep mixing it around, picking up flavors, and you're going to see that this kale is going to start to shrink in size. It's going to start to soften. If at any point you need a little bit of extra liquid, like the pan dried up, just splash a little bit more in there, just a little bit at a time. We're also going to throw in some low-sodium soy sauce for some umami flavor, a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, and a pinch or two of salt. So after moving this kale around the pan, you can see it's wilted significantly. Once it gets to this point where it's pretty wilted, but it's not mushy, we're going to take that, we're going to put that right on our plate. And you can see that we have garlic of all kinds. So some is a little burnt, some is a little raw. That's going to add a really nice contrast of flavor. So let's wipe out this pan. And we have to do this crispy egg in a stainless steel pan. You can't do it in a cast iron. You can't do this in a non-stick pan. It has to be a stainless steel pan. So we're going to get the pan ripping hot, and we're going to add some olive oil. And as soon as we throw those eggs in there, you can see them start to bubble. The first time I saw this crispy egg technique was from Frank Prinzano. He's got an Instagram, a TikTok, a YouTube. I'll throw his YouTube in the description box. But you can see as soon as we put that in there that we're starting to get some crisp on the bottom of these eggs. You got to be really patient and not touch them, and you got to let the pan do its thing. The eggs will release. So while we're waiting for those eggs to fry up, we're going to season it with a little salt, a little fresh ground black pepper, some crushed red pepper. And here's the Talenti container of the fresh oregano from my mom's garden. If it doesn't come out of a Talenti container, I don't know if I can trust it. And so now these eggs are well seasoned. They got a lot of flavor. And once you got enough crisp on that, but the white has not set yet, you can get a flat spatula and get underneath the egg. And you should not have to work to get underneath it. It should just release very, very nicely. So we're going to lower the heat in the pan, and we're going to keep those in there until those whites have set fully. And you can see how crispy and solid the bottom of this is. It's really, really nice and awesome texture. So now we're going to put that on top of the eggs, and this dish is complete. So before we get to the taste test, let's check out our other dish. And we're going to show this recipe prep style with this onion and these two bell peppers that I'm going to prep. And this is way too much onion and bell pepper for a single one. But what I like to do is I like to chop these up and then put them inside of a container. So if I'm making this in the morning in a rush, all I got to do is reach inside the fridge and grab up the chopped up onions, bell pepper. And we're going to put a small equal dice on everything. And then we're just going to throw it inside of a container and just give it a mix. So all I got to do is reach in there and grab a handful and throw it in the pan. And I don't have to take out a knife or a cutting board before I want to make these eggs. And I'm just going to mix these around and store them right in the fridge. Doing a little prep in advance could be the game-changing tip that you need in order to get fresh breakfast going. So let's throw that in the fridge, and now let's make our fresh pico. So I find one of the hardest things to cut in the kitchen is a tomato. So we're going to quarter these tomatoes, and then we're just pulling out the insides by rocking it with the knife, and then I'm just going to pull out my seeds because we just want the flesh of the tomato. We don't want the seeds or the watery stuff on the inside. And now I'm going to slice these one way and then turn them sideways and use my rocker chopper motion to dice them. We're going to chop up this red onion, really nice and fine. And then we're also going to throw a jalapeno pepper in here. In fact, this isn't even a jalapeno pepper. This is a not a pino pepper. So I grew these in the garden this year. They are a great variety of jalapeno, so it's got jalapeno flavor, but no heat. So now we're going to put some cilantro in there. I like to take the extra step and take the stems off the cilantro. Everybody says that you could chop up the cilantro stems and just put them right in there. I don't know about that because I've tried it a few times and I really don't like it. So I'll take the extra minute and pull the leaves off and then chop them super duper fine and throw them inside this pico. And if you don't like cilantro, you can always use parsley. And now we're also going to put the juice of 1 lime in there. Lime juice is going to add some really nice acidity. We don't put any oil inside pico, so it's going to be the liquid that's going to marinate this all. And just a pinch of salt, or 2. And now we're going to give this a mix, and we're going to let all these flavors come together. We're going to put this inside of a container, and we're going to put this inside the fridge. This is a really nice, fresh element to keep on hand. You can see this is way too much for a single breakfast, but I'll throw this stuff on top of everything. Into the fridge it goes. So now we're going to use a smaller nonstick pan, and we're going to throw some chorizo in there. And I'm going to try to chop this chorizo up, but this silicone spatula is not doing it. So let's get the tool of choice, the Italian mom child behavior adjuster, the wooden spatula. And once that got a nice brown on it, we're going to throw in just a handful of those peppers and onions and let those cook up and soften. So now we're time for our eggs. So we're going to throw 2 eggs in there and a pinch of salt. We're going to give it a quick scramble and right inside the pan. And I'm going to try to coat the entire bottom of the pan. So I'll try to scramble it a little bit, and then I'll use the loose egg to kind of shake the pan around to see if we can get a nice coating of egg all the way around. We're going to work that edge, and here we're going to throw in a wrap. So this isn't a tortilla. This is like a larger size wrap. And now we're going to put a plate on top that covers the rim of the pan, and we're gonna give this a flip and pull this off, and this worked out pretty well. And now we're just gonna reach underneath, grab the wrap, slide it right into the pan, and it fits perfectly. In goes our cheese. Here we're using some Monterey Jack, and now I'm gonna fold this in half, and we're gonna get a nice crisp on the outside of this wrap / tortilla. So after a minute or 2 on one side, we'll flip over and get some nice browning on the outside. These wraps crisp up very, very nicely. So now we're going to transfer this over to a plate. We're going to cut this in half just to make it easier to handle. This would be really hard to handle all at once. This looks so good. So we're going to throw it on the plate, sliced in half, and we're going to get a little pico on the side of this. I haven't done many breakfast recipes on the channel, but these are 2 that I really, really like. Let me know in the comments section what other breakfast or egg recipes that you'd like to see in future videos. Hot and delicious breakfast in less than 5 minutes after we turn that pan on.
Well, breakfast is served. I don't even know which one to start off with first. Let's start off with crispy egg. Really nice breakfast, super duper fast, and this doesn't even have to be a breakfast. Sometimes I eat this in the middle of the afternoon for a nice lunch or just a snack throughout the afternoon. Look at this really, really nice like crispy crust that we got right here. I mean, this is one of the nicest features of a crispy egg. You don't see these a lot, but they're really, really nice. It's gonna contrast really nice with the softness of the kale. So let's cut into this egg yolk. Oh, perfectly creamy egg yolk, nice custardy center, but let's have a nice bite. Healthy, creamy, eggy. I mean, what more could you want out of a delicious egg snack or breakfast? This is so good. And I love kale. Kale's so much better than spinach for something like this because it's got a little bite, it's got a little texture. All right, now let's go breakfast quesadilla time. So let's take one of these quesadillas. We'll open it up, put some of that pico right inside. Now, what a nice little sandwich this is. And I guess a quesadilla is a sandwich. Let me know in the comment section if you think that a quesadilla qualifies as a sandwich. All the sandwich police out there. that is a delicious breakfast. I mean, if you're struggling to make breakfast, eat breakfast, or even get tons of vegetables in with breakfast, this is your dish. Well, I'm gonna finish my breakfasts, double, plural, and while I'm doing that, check out my buttermilk pantry pancakes. This is a really nice fast recipe. It would go great with either of these if you're making a little brunch or breakfast spread. I'll throw that right here, and I'll see you there. Bye.